What up, Steph? Had a special screening yesterday for his new documentary. Stephen Curry, that is. I'm going to pull up the name of the documentary. I should know that right off the bat. But they had a special screening. Dumas just texted me yesterday.
Isn't it underrated or something?
Underrated. I know it's underrated, but I want to get the title accurate here. I'll pull it up. Steph Curry, by the way, I think he's prime for a huge series. Oh, my God. This series he's about to have up against Sacramento. Underrated, and those underrated golf season 2 is coming up for Stephen Curry. So we'll get the title of that in just a second as we continue to roll along here on the Morning Roast. Download the Odyssey app, 95.7 The Game, and thousands of other stations and millions of podcasts are completely free on the Odyssey app. And guess what? You can catch every Warriors game live on the app, along with all the music and news in the Bay Area. Follow your favorite team stations, radio shows, and podcasts now by downloading the free Odyssey app. I want to go back to something you said about the regular season in just a second, Joe. But let's go to Esteban in Oakland. Esteban, you're on the roast here on 95.7 The Game.
What's up, Lord Bonte, San Fran, Snitch and Boy Shasky? What's going on,
don't
guys?
do that, Esteban. Come on, Frisco Shasky's in the building, Esteban.
It's a Friday. You can't make me mad this morning, Esteban. What up?
Hey, man, listen. I don't know if it was last week, but then Dibs had Kings were going to backhand the Warriors. Man, Warriors going to backhand the Kings so hard, they ain't going to make the playoffs next year. Warriors in 4, baby. And we going to be talking about how all the Warriors couldn't do it, and they going to do it. And next year they're going to be talking about how they can't do it without Draymond or Bob Myers. Man, 3 finals MVPs, 6 titles for Steph Curry. Lock that in, baby.
All right, Esteban, he's feeling himself.
He's got a 3-peat going then.
He's got a 3-peat coming up.
Okay.
Stephen Curry.
Can we win the series first?
Yeah, Stephen Curry, underrated, coming out on Apple TV.
I thought it was
underrated. Yeah, I thought it had something else to it. Underrated.
Well, it might have underrated, the Steph Curry story.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Can't wait for that. July 21st of 2023, of course. Stephen Curry.
Underrated. The Joe Shasky story.
Underrated. That's why they have to come in like that to my boy. Frisco Shasky's in the building. It's got the We Believe jersey on. Look.
We got the King.
The Kings have been so bad. I remember Ed telling me when we were early on in our dating life.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, man, I got to
Weren't times so simple back then?
It was. It was pre-baby Chaz and everything. And
so let's make that happen this year, okay?
As we move on, there was one Saturday she said, like, oh, man, what are you doing this Saturday? Blah, 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 blah. I was like, oh, man, I gotta be at Oracle, man, cover this Warriors game. She's like, who they playing? I was like, they're playing the Kings, Battle of NorCal. She goes, bro, you don't have to cover that game. Kings ain't no factor. Stop. I was like, damn. Kings have come a long way. She actually reminded me of this earlier this week, which is why I bring it up. She's like, well, it looks like the Kings are finally a factor, huh, babe?
She said that?
Yes. I used to try to.
So is she in the building Saturday?
No, she's not going up to go to one. She wants to, but she's not going up to go to one. Not at all. But she brought something up about the regular season not mattering.
Well,
for the Warriors.
saying,
not mattering, but it's less emphasis for the Golden State Warriors to play great basketball and win 50-plus games in the regular season.
And I'll let you go on in a second, but you have to understand the cycle of where they are at as a team and with players. They're at the end of their careers. They've kind of accomplished everything that you can accomplish in the regular season when it comes to individual accolades. We don't judge Tom Brady by regular seasons.
Yep.
We judge Tom Brady by what he does in the playoffs.
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes has now entered that realm, right? Roger Clemens at the end of his career, him and Andy Pettit, they didn't pitch for regular season awards.
Right.
They said, wake me up in June.
Yep.
I'm going to miss the first 2 months of the season. I'm here to pitch in October.
How many times has Shaq not come in shape into the NBA season?
A lot.
And it was like, all right.
He chose to have surgery on day one of the regular season because he didn't want to play during the regular season. So, that's not being arrogant. I think that's being realistic about where you are in your life cycle as a player and as an organization.
Yep, I'm with you. So, talking to Festus about that 73-9 season, he goes, looking back at it, we went hard because we wanted to prove something.
Yeah.
We wanted to choose for greatness. But looking back at it, it did take a lot out of us. Now, I don't think that was a determining factor, in my opinion, of them not winning the championship.
I agree, but it was a part of it.
Again, it was a 89-89 game with just under 5 minutes left. And a lot of back and forth. The championship was right there.
It was tied with 2 minutes to go.
It was right there. But he did say, it did it took a lot out of us, man. It really did. We were worn down by the end of that run. We were hanging out for dear life. Livingston was on his last leg.
Iggy hurt his back
In Game 6,
Yeah.
he's done. Bogut got hurt in Game 5 right in front of me and tore his Achilles. Or what was it, his fibula? I forgot what it was, man. But I remember it happened right on the baseline. I put my head straight down like, oh, boy, we're going to be back here for Game 7. Swear to God. I was feeling like Joe Shasky the Warrior then. But you see it with LeBron and Kyrie dropping 40 burgers there. You're like, oh, no Bogut. Oh, no, this is a disaster.
They lost Game 7 against the Clippers because they had no Bogut too. But keep going.
So to your point about the regular season, not really mattering for the Warriors, it's not that it doesn't matter because they do want to play good basketball. They want to have their form. They don't want to turn the ball over. But it is less emphasis on the regular season for a team like the Warriors and teams like, say, a Milwaukee Bucks, who's won a championship.
Yes.
Than, say, the Sacramento Kings or the Clippers. And the Clippers act like the regular season doesn't matter. Like, Earth to the Clippers, you never won anything.
Yeah, I agree
You've
with
been in
that.
one conference final.
I agree with that.
Chill.
Yeah.
Like, you need to win in the regular season.
Yeah.
But for teams that have guys with championships, like the Lakers, they're feeling good right now as a 17 playing the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah.
It feels like they're the favorite in that series. And they got to the regular season, or they got through the regular season, and now they're healthy.
That's a good point.
So for teams like that, for players like that, I just think the regular season doesn't mean as much as it does for the Sacramento Kings.
It's a great point, and you've referenced a couple basketball ones. Like I look at Boston right now. Boston had a great regular season, but isn't everybody like, well, you got to do it in the playoffs,
Right?
Like, isn't that what everyone's saying?
Yep.
And I don't think that's fair, but that's kind of how they're being judged right now. Let's look at someone like the Dodgers. How many consecutive NL Wests have they won?
Man,
10?
10 or is
Okay.
it 11 out of 12 or something like that? The Giants finally won it.
They won 111 games last year or whatever it was, some crazy number. And what did we all say? Well, you didn't win it all.
You didn't win it all.
Because that's how they're being judged, and that's where they're at right now.
The Analyst Braves in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly.
Under Bobby Cox.
Exactly.
They won one World Series. One. That tenure was, yes, it was a dominant run for them. What was it, 14 straight NL East titles? But they're going to look back, and Braves fans will look back and say, well, I got one World Series out of it.
I know. And it
Had
feels
a lot
like
of playoff failures.
It feels like a disappointment.
Exactly.
Upon looking back. And
Yep.
so can anyone remember what the Miami Heat did during the regular season in any of the 4 years that LeBron was there?
Nope.
No.
Matter of fact, when they won the title against the Oklahoma City Thunder, you brought up Derrick Rose earlier.
Yeah.
The Bulls had home court advantage that year.
Yeah, I know.
They're the best team in the Eastern Conference.
Joakim Noah, it was Luol
Carlos
Deng.
Boozer.
It was Carlos Boozer. Was Deng on that team?
Luol Deng was on that team.
Yeah, that was a fun team. That
was a good team.
That Bulls team.
They were the
I
top
was rooting
dog
for Derrick Rose.
They were the top dog in the East.
Yes.
What happened?
Yeah,
They got smoked at 5.
And LeBron guarded Derrick Rose
Right.
out on the perimeter, and it was curtains.
beautiful.
But like we see this in sport, and I don't think that is like that's not excuse making. I think that's reality setting, where you're just trying to explain where they're at right now. Like the San Francisco Giants when they won it all. Does anyone go back and go, well, they really weren't the best team in the regular season in any of those 3 World Series? No, well, they weren't, and it doesn't matter at all.
It doesn't matter.
Neither were the Cardinals when they've won their multiple championships, right? Like none of those things matter. The Yankees, are the Yankees judged by regular season wins?
Nope.
Not at all.
It's judged by, can you win the big one?
Exactly. You know,
It's
Alex
like-
Rodriguez, one of the most accomplished players in the history of sports in the regular season. Never got it done in the playoffs until they won that one World Series. And even then, he was good, but he wasn't as good as he normally is. So I feel like when I look at the Golden State Warriors, it's like I hear people like, yes, the Kings had a better
Yep.
year. They were much better than the Warriors
Yep.
in a lot of different categories. The playoffs are different. And that's not an excuse. That's the reality.
And now, if it's not different for the Warriors, then they're going to have a quick playoff run. That's it. I mean, that's the reality. And then we're heading into an offseason of a lot of unknowns.
Yes.
And that's what's on the line here. I think Draymond understands that. Stephen Curry understands that. Steve Kerr understands that. Klay Thompson understands that. Bob Myers and Joe Lacob understand that. A lot is on the table for this playoff run. But if you have a great playoff run, and if you get to the promised land, and you win number 5, oh, man. Oh, man, that parade this year, it may be the best parade ever.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
Can we win one
if you
game on
win
the
it
road
this
first
year,
before we
if
get?
you win it this year, and look, they've won a road game in
I
27
know.
straight series.
I'm just saying, let's win one. He's like,
I'm just saying.
To me, the way I would categorize these first 2 games, they got to get one of the first 2.
Doesn't it feel like game 1?
Game one feels big. I'm not gonna lie, even though it's just one game. But like, you could lose game one, right, B, and come back and win game two, and that's a gut punch for the other team.
So they lost game one against Toronto. They bounced back and won game two of that series in the 2019 NBA Finals. They lost game one against Oklahoma City
Yes.
in the Western Conference
Yes.
Finals. And I remember going in OKC's locker room, and it felt like they lost. And I was like, oh, God, this is going to be a long series. KD and Deion Waiters and Russell, we didn't even play well. We're disappointed in how we played. I'm like, oh, damn, we got problems.
Narrator, it was a tough series.
It was a tough series, but they lost game one of that series. Trying to take another game one, obviously last year against Boston.
I mean, they blew a huge lead.
Blew a huge lead in the fourth quarter.
Huge lead.
They lose that game, and I'm thinking, oh, gosh, is this going to end like this? Is it going to end like this?
Derek White and Al Horford destroying them in the fourth
Unbelievable.
quarter.
So they haven't lost many game ones. The 2014-15 season, they didn't lose any game ones. 2016, I mentioned it, OKC, but that's about it. They haven't lost too many game ones, folks. They love to set the tone. So